What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at the brand new Tinkaton, and I was lucky enough to get a trade where I got really nice IVs on this thing, like really nice IVs. And you can really tell in these matchups how much the IVs make a difference. This thing is bulky, and I'm not just saying like normal bulky. This thing is bulky. It's not like Clodsire or anything, but I would say it's pretty close to something like a Shadow Jumpluff. That being said, we're pairing it with Golisopod and Mandibuzz in the back. This is one of the teams from my top team video. So yeah, don't need too much explanation there, but without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Alright, that 3-15-12 Tinkaton. Let's see, we've got a fantastic lead in Guzzlord, and my opponent is core broken by the Tinkaton in the very first match. So we're just going to go for the Heavy Slam right away. It's not enough to one-shot, so this is actually a bit of an awkward matchup. I'm going to call the bait. No way you're running Overheat, and they do just throw the Sludge, and then they just throw instantly, which means this can only be another Sludge. And now that allows me to overfarm here, go for the Heavy Slam before they make it to a third charge move. Are they going to let this go? No. I mean, yes, they are. What is that Pokemon in the back? It's a Lapras. So I instantly pivot into my Golisopod. I have two better answers to Lapras in the back, and I want to draw that Guzzlord back out. And fortunately, we have a super effective coverage move. So we can go for back-to-back X-Scissors before my opponent even decides to throw a charge move. And at this point, they double shield their Guzzlord, which is a bit of a strange play considering they know I have a Tinkaton on the lead. And even if they take me out here, Tinkaton is going to absolutely destroy Guzzlord. The worst that this can be is a crunch, and it is, but we bank the play rough. They come in with a Lapras. Their Psywaves are double resisted. We are going to respect a potential Ice Beam here because, oh no, it's a Skull Bash instead. So actually buffing their defense, which is a little annoying. Just because now, I mean, Mandibuzz doesn't hit hard anyways, but oh man, look at that, Dark Pulse, it did like, I don't know, not even 20%, so it's going to take a few of these, but my opponent realizes the writing's on the wall, so they just resigned the match. I've been watching too much Home Slice Henry. Okay, we've got Carbink on the lead. This is a fantastic lead, and my opponent is staying in. They do go for a catch on a Serperior, which is a bit of a strange catch because you're also walled on Serperior. So Tinkaton is absolutely core breaking my opponents, but I also have a good response and Mandibuzz for the Serperior, and I really don't want the Mandibuzz to see the Carbink, so I am going to align it here. They go for the Frenzy. The Frenzy is like a better charge move, like it will do more damage. Damage per energy wise though, resisted, I'm not sure. It's probably close. Frenzy's so much better than Aerial Ace, but it is strange to see them going purely for resisted charge moves here. That being said, after that Aerial Ace connects, I can go for a full Snarl farm down, come out with basically 100 energy. I'm gonna go for the Dark Pulse. Both are resisted, so just go for the one that's a higher damage move. One of the move, just trying not to give them any free fast moves. But this is just a waste, right? We're just basically throwing away the Mandibuzz for alignment. And it's a Gastrodon in the back, so we have perfect alignment here. We are resisting these Mud Slaps, and Golisopod can easily take one Body Slam. It's two that we, after the Mud Slaps, that could get a little hairy. But that being said, we also have a pacing advantage in this matchup, so we're going to throw the charge move basically as soon as we get it. And then we're always probably just going to match shields. There's no reason not to. So yeah, just match the shield, farm up, go for another Aqua Jet, just watch for the catch basically is the thing. They go for the catch, I try to click, I missed. I was like frantically clicking on the right and completely missed, but here comes a Rock Slide that, oh my god, this thing is so bulky. I accidentally farm over 100 energy, but that's okay. Now go for the double super effective Heavy Slam. That KOs the Carbink. I'm able to make it to a play rough, and I have a move banked on my Golisopod, so this game is over. That's why I went for the play rough. There's no point not to. They do get the full farm down, but I have the move banked. And even if I got one turn lag, I had the shield, so we were in a good situation. There was nothing my opponent could do to win that game. Okay, Tinkaton into Morpeko. Now this is a good lead, but it's a little awkward because obviously Aura Wheels will hurt, and they actually bank that energy and then they come in with a Toxapex. And I don't have a good answer to Toxapex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my Mandibuzz because this is a neutral-ish matchup. I imagine Toxapex wins this, especially with the energy lead that I gave them. That being said, if I can soft lose this and then come in with my Gliscod and farm them down, then I have super effective X Scissors for the Morpeko either way. So it's not the end of the world. Like, I don't really need Switch, especially if we can grab shields. But they do connect with a Sludge Wave. I am able to last second connect with an Aerial Ace here, which is good because this will put it in Shadow Claw farm down range. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I make it to, is this enough for another Sludge Wave or just a Brine? It is enough for another Sludge Wave, but I'm basically banking on my Tinkaton running away with this game, but I blind throw an X Scissor, they catch it on the Medicham, and then they snipe with their Morpeko. So this could get a little bit interesting because now I've got two shields and a Tinkaton. I'm baiting with the Heavy Slam. This is resisted damage, but they do shield it up. Now going for the harder hitting Play Rough once I've grabbed one shield, because if not, then I can always just shield back. But they actually let it go, and now, yeah, after they missed that bait call, they just resign the match. Another great lead, Malamar. Obviously, they do have neutral superpowers, and these Psywaves are doing about as much damage as our Fairy Winds are, which is unfortunate because theirs is resisted and mine is super effective, but one turn versus two turn, that happens. They come in with a Lapras, so we're going to chip with a Heavy Slam and then come in with Gliscod. This could potentially be a Skull Bash, and it is, which actually rocks the Gliscod, but I'm able to make it to back-to-back X Scissors. So now it's going to be up to what my opponent wants to do. They let the first go, and they do live that. But now we can give them a shielding decision with the second X Scissor. And they let that go as well. We didn't need alignment, which is why we kind of let that one go. And now we're going to come in with Mandibuzz. I imagine they have a second answer. Unless this is a triple Psywave team. No, it is a Clodsire in the back. Now, this is a little bit awkward. We kind of have to stay in this matchup. We have to see if they're on Stone Edge or Sludge Bomb. They do throw right away at 7, so this could be a potential Stone Edge, but no, it's a Sludge Bomb bait. So what we can do here is, because they threw right away on alignment, we're going to overfarm a little bit. We're going to try and go for a catch of a second Sludge Bomb onto our Tinkaton. So hopefully we got that catch right. We did. That's huge. That is resisted damage. Steel double resisting the poison, whereas it's super effective on Fairy, so it nets a single resist on the Fairy Steel typing. We successfully get a bait. Now we're full sending. This will be enough to KO, but my opponent actually does let it go. Can they get the Poison Sting farm down? They can. And this is where this can get a little bit awkward. I will shield this up. I can live one Sludge Bomb from this range, but I may as well shield one. In comes a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse from this range won't be enough to KO. However, it will put them in the red, but we actually grab a shield. I probably should go double Aerial Ace at this range, because Dark Pulse, yeah, not quite enough to KO, and just slightly more expensive than the Aerial Ace. So understanding how much health your opponent has left is important, but we are still able to outpace, make it to the Aerial Ace. An Aerial Ace from this range is certainly enough to KO the Clodsire after it loads, because my opponent force quit the app. But we are able to take that win. Oh boy, we've got Tinkaton into Cradily. Okay, Cradily, another great lead. They get out into Gliscod. I'm gonna chip because I don't have a fantastic answer, but I do have Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz would probably rather not see the Cradily, but this just like ensures that I can maintain alignment, and I am going to overfarm here because I'm not threatened by any charge moves here. So I'm going to let two Aqua Jets go through. Now going for the Aerial Ace. If they decide to shield this up, I'll go for one on the move. and maintain switch, but they do decide to let that go. Are they going to come back in with the Cradily? They are, which is nice because that means I can connect with a Dark Pulse, and they're going to be forced to throw energy in order to get the knockout here. So they are going to overfarm a little bit, and now they're going to KO with the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb easily KOs from this range, and now we can just come in with the Pokemon that walls it, and it's a Claydol in the back. So they did successfully bait out Mandibuzz, which is like a Claydol nightmare, but we still have Gliscod, and Gliscod absolutely owns in this matchup. They are going to go for a Shield and a Rock Tomb debuff, so we already see 2 Pokemon with Rock Tomb on this team, which is really annoying, but and they're also ABA weak to Ice, so kind of interesting team for my opponent, but they're going to double Shield. They're going to go for another Rock Tomb. I instantly switch into my Tinkaton, expecting them to go for a Snipe. They weren't quite at the move, I guess, but they do go for a Rock Tomb, and wow, that just does absolutely nothing to Tinkaton. That is incredible. This thing is so bulky. It's honestly so fun to play with. I saw a lot of people, and my opponent just resigns the match. I saw a lot of people running it with Bulldoze today. The day I'm recording this is not the same day that I did these battles, but I did find that interesting. But good lead in the next match. They switch into Feraligatr. I farm up 5 Fairy Winds and catch onto my Gliscod, because that means I can always throw on CMP, win the CMP tie, and go for the X-Scissor. Unfortunately, though, it's only awkward if my opponent no shields the first, because they do live it. But I can just shield this back because I kind of need to maintain alignment in this match, so I will get the full farm down, and I will come out with energy to potentially threaten the Drapion. So here comes an Aqua Jet. Can I make it to another Aqua Jet before they get the Poison Sting down? That would be huge, but no, not quite. Now I'm coming in with Mandibuzz because I need my Tinkaton aligned to the Cradily, and we are able to get that. I'm going to let them throw. It's fine. Any charge move isn't going to hurt here, and even if they debuff us, it's going to take 2 Heavy Slams to KO anyways, so I'm not really worried about them getting to that charge move first. Actually, now it looks like it might take 3, so that's kind of crazy. If they decide to shield this up, this could get a little bit awkward. I mean, they're never going to be able to KO me with this Rock Tomb, so I'm just going to let another one go because I'm not in farm down range either for that Drapion. And they do try and come with a Drapion. I catch onto my Mandibuzz. Did we catch an Aqua Tail? Obviously, because they can't really go for Crunch on either. But Aqua Tails, I mean, they have so much energy. Even if they go for 3 Aqua Tails here, it's just... I'm sorry, Drapion, you just cannot get through the health of Mandibuzz. I've got terrible IVs on my Mandibuzz, but it doesn't matter. Here comes an Aerial Ace. I'm at 100 energy. What are you going to do? I just ate 3 of your Aqua Tails for breakfast. Here comes a second one. This is going to get the knockout. And in comes the Cradily. I'm going to instantly swap, get off the Heavy Slam. My opponent just resigns the match. So we are able to take that win. Okay, Tinkaton into Tinkaton. Okay, we've got mirror leads. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see if IVs are important in this matchup. But they outpace me, which means they're on Bulldoze. It's straight 5 to the Bulldoze. You wouldn't know that based on my count on the left because I'm not running it. But Heavy Slam is still neutral because it's super effective on Fairy, resisted on Steel. So what I do is I connect with a Heavy Slam and then I go for a catch onto my Gliscod. I didn't think I got it, but they ended up throwing the Bulldoze anyways. But now I can overfarm, connect with an Aqua Jet. My opponent does let that go, which means I'm able to get the Shadow Claw farm down. And look, they've got a Gliscod of their own in the back. What are the chances that this is a mirror team? That would be kind of crazy. Maybe it's a subscriber that watches my videos. I actually ran into someone different team. You might see it in another video running the exact same team as me. And I don't think I've seen any other content creators put out that specific team, so I was like, oh crap, this is either someone who has the exact same thinking that I do, or a subscriber, which was kind of cool to think of. But I come in with my Mandibuzz, I soak up the energy of the Gliscod. I'm now going for an Aerial Ace to get the knockout. And what is in the back but a Diggersby? So this is going to be a tough matchup to get out of because we don't really, I mean, we have the alignment we want. They don't come in with their Tinkaton, which is the incorrect play. Why didn't they just come in with their... Oh, wait, no, never mind. I'm literally losing my mind. Diggersby is their last Pokemon, right? Yeah, okay, I'm just losing it. Okay, so they come in with their Diggersby. It's their last Pokemon. We're going to force them to throw. Fire Punch isn't enough to KO from that range. I now have 2 shields and a Tinkaton, and they only have 1 shield remaining. Here comes a Play Rough. They do get that shield call correct, but I have 2 shields, right? So all I have to do is make it to 2 more Play Roughs before they're able to make it to 2 Fire Punch baits plus a Scorching Sands, which would require 22 fast move. No. 5, 5, and 7. So 17. And I do get a Fire Punch bait call correct too as well, because I was like, they're not gonna farm me down. I can get to a Dark Pulse if I need to, but they just go for Fire Punch, so we are able to shield that and connect with a Heavy Slam to take that win. Great lead. In the next match, we've got Serperior on the lead. They switch into Feraligatr, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. Go 5 Fairy Winds and then try and catch on my Guzzlord, but I'm unsuccessful this time. They hold on to their energy, but they're on Hydro Cannon plus Ice Beam, so it doesn't really matter. That being said, I can connect with his X-Scissors, but this is the non-shadow, so it's not going to be enough to KO. And now I kind of have to just give my opponent Switch, because without committing 2 shields, there's no real way out of this. And unfortunately, that doesn't even KO, so they get an extra Shadow Claw through, which is like the perfect amount of energy that they could get without letting me get to another charge move. But that does mean I can get a Snarl farm down on the Mana Buzz, and I didn't really need Switch once again because they had a Serperior on the lead. And it's a Budget Man Guzzlord in the back. We've got a Hydreigon in the Great League. I don't think I've ever seen this thing in the Great League. That is actually crazy. But I switch into my Tinkaton. In comes Serperior. I guess Serperior technically has a better matchup than Hydreigon. Like, oof, that's rough. Either way, I'm going to let 1 charge move go. 1 Frenzy won't be enough to KO, and I kind of want to see how much damage it does. You don't really see it there because it was a CMP tie. But we do grab the first shield from my opponent, and actually didn't do much damage. We're just barely in the yellow. That did like nothing. That is crazy. Now I'm going to start shielding it up. Frenzy Plant is probably the hardest hitting charge move they have on their team, unless they're running Flash Cannon on their Hydreigon. But if they are, then it's, you know, it's whatever. Like, they're never going to get there before they even get Fairy Wind farmed down. Especially when I bait it back out with a Mana Buzz connected with an Aerial Ace. And at this point, this game is over. I can let this go. They can take out my Mana Buzz. Doesn't matter. Nope, they're on Dragon Pulse. That doesn't even KO. I just go for the full farm down because I actually didn't want to give them any extra like energy. So I purposely was not throwing a charge move there. And it looks like they stopped tapping as well because they didn't want to KO my Mana Buzz either. But I think they were going for a simultaneous KO. But into the next match, we've got Weezing on the lead. Now, this is only a good matchup if they're not on Overheat. And the fact that they let me outpace worries me a little bit because it's 6 to a Heavy Slam and 7 to an Overheat. So I'm going to respect it. And it is the Overheat, so we do get that big call right. And then it's a Sableye in the back, which is a little bit interesting. So now we're going to go for a super effective Play Rough here. We do grab that shield, and now we can just come in with the Mana Buzz. They'll have Dazzling Gleam. It's super effective, but it's non-stab. Let's see, R2 enough to KO? No, they're on return, so they haven't TM'd return away yet. Interesting. I mean, return Sableye certainly has some play, but I do not think it's actually at the peak of its game. That being said, I will give it a shield back because I saw how much damage that did. And now I can connect with an Aerial Ace against this Weezing. They're pretty much energy dry, so if they shield this, I can make it to another. But they do correctly let that go. They were just forcing some energy by coming back in with their Weezing, which is a pretty nice play. And it's a Pangoro in the back. So yeah, this is rough for my opponent because we have a Fairy and a Flying Dark Pokemon. So this is really hard to work out of. They are going to have to full send a close combat here in order to get the knockout. Night Slash would not be enough to KO. But now I have a Fairy type on their Pangoro. I catch the close combat onto my Gliscod because why the hell not? I don't know how much it would do to a Tinkaton, but I didn't want to find out. And now with their defense at -4, they try and go for a catch, but I hold on to my energy expecting it, and they do just resign that match. Ooh, terrible lead. Okay, Talonflame, we throw one Fairy Wind, get into our Golisopod, defer that damage onto it, and then connect with an Aqua Jet. We will always now be able to outpace because we threw first. However, if they're on Flame Charge, this could get a little bit hairy because they can boost their Incinerates, and you can already see how much these Incinerates are doing. That being said, they grab the shield, and then they grab the shield back, I should say, and then they come in with a Weezing, knowing that one charge move is not going to be enough to KO, and they can always maintain alignment. So decent play from my opponent, and they do show the Brutal Swing, so they're unlikely to be on Brutal Swing Overheat. However, that is the moveset I was on in the Spring Cup, so I'm just going to let this go. No way you're on Brutal Swing Overheat, and they are. Fortunately, Fairy Wind is resisted, so I can still overfarm a little bit. It's not enough to one-shot the Tinkaton, which is actually crazy. But I'm going to do once again, throw one and the charge move, one and the switch, and I switch into my Mana Buzz, they throw the fly, and then they get out into a Ferrothorn. Now Ferrothorn obviously was running Flash Cannon in the Spring Cup, so if my opponent still hasn't used any TMs, assuming they haven't because they're on Brutal Swing and Overheat, I'm going to respect this, and it is the Flash Cannon, so a good shield call by me there. Now that allows me to overfarm here, go for a Dark Pulse. It will be a CMP tie on my next Dark Pulse, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch, because they're going to be forced to throw right away. They should have waited to see the Snarl go through, but they do Flash Cannon right away in case I went for an Aerial Ace combo there, because I could have gone Dark Pulse Aerial Ace, but so they make a nice play there. But that allows me to catch, get to the Dark Pulse against the Talonflame. Now that means I can get to another Dark Pulse against this Talonflame, and unfortunately that is still not enough to KO the Talonflame, which means this final game is going to end in a loss, just barely there. But yeah, that is the brand new Tinkaton, and that is Tinkaton with like really nice IVs. I don't remember exactly what the rank of this one is in the Great League, but it was good. And obviously you can see we've got low attack, high defense, high stamina. That's what you want. For any of those that are confused, you can stay and listen to the explanation on this. But for the rest of you, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, peace. But basically, the reason you want low attack, high defense, high stamina is because that allows you. So in the CP formula for Pokemon Go, attack is weighted higher than both defense and stamina are. So having a higher attack means that you're going to get to a higher level, or a lower level faster, I guess I should say. But when you keep a low attack, because the multiplier on the attack is so much more than defense and stamina, that allows you to increase your bulk, because you also are a lower level. No, sorry, you're also a higher level at the same CP cap. So that allows you just to be a little bit more bulkier. But if I didn't explain that well, I can make another video on that. There's plenty of other YouTubers that have covered that as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.